You can't have any high quality friends if people can't trust you.
The video you're about to watch is just a small segment from a much longer and more in-depth interview that's included inside my new digital program, The 10 Commandments of Wealth. Click that link and get your name on the 10 Commandments of Wealth early action guest list. When you do, you'll secure your invitation to a private and live webcast discussion with me. You'll also become eligible to get your copy of the 10 Commandments of Wealth 10 days early. Click that link, get your ass on the webcast. I'll see you inside.
I've had this in different areas of life where people want to encourage you to do short-term fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of people it bothers them. It causes them some cognitive dissonance that when they see somebody doing things at a high level, they realize they would never have the discipline, even if they had the natural ability.
Mm-hmm.
They would never have the discipline to do what's necessary on a consistent basis to have that sort of result. And it kind of gives them a reflection that they don't like to see about themselves. There's almost an active sabotage of some people. I call them legacy friends that were that way with me. I call them legacy friends, that you let them linger around for a while. And then, to me, the red flag is I see that when we get together, you can only talk about things that happened back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You can't talk about what you've been doing recently or what your current goals or aspirations are, because a lot of those people just find it unrelatable. And I encourage my audience that if you weren't friends with that person already, if it wasn't your legacy friend, if you didn't know them from back in the day, would this be your new friend now? Would you make friends with that individual? And if the answer is no, go make some new friends.
Yeah, no, you're right. And a lot of times it is the people, like you said, that people that actually maybe had talent are the ones they'll hate the most. The guys that actually do have physical, and fighting is going to be different than other things, but some of these guys that are physically talented, good wrestlers or have the physical ability to do it, but they don't have the work ethic. And you see them hating a little bit because they maybe could be there with me, winning titles, but they're not because they just can't grind like that. And for me, whenever I was, I train fighters and stuff too. The thing I look for before I look for work ethic and guys that have the mental toughness before I look for physical ability. Mm-hmm. And you get some of these trainers, the first thing they see is the physical athlete. Like, oh wow, this guy's so fast and explosive. But I always pay attention to their mental mindset a lot more. I think that obviously both is good, but I think the mental mindset's going to go a lot further than a physically talented guy that just doesn't have the mental push and the work ethic and the toughness to keep pushing.
I think about that level of commitment when I see somebody that. They say a lot of words, but their actions aren't in alignment. Mm-hmm. As soon as I see that a couple times,
exactly,
that's not what it looks like.
It's different in different fields. But training fighters, these guys are talking, I'll be there, this, and always talking, not showing up, coming in late, missing workouts, missing Saturdays. Like, all right, this guy's not serious. I'm going to spend time on the guy that's there every workout on time or early, asking me questions, trying to get extra workouts in, not the guy trying to avoid workouts.
Another thought I've had about you is, I think you're a person that values like personal integrity or keeping your word a lot. And I think that's a key thing that I keep my word all the time. If I give a promise, I'm going to do something. I'm reluctant to make a commitment, but if I make a commitment, 100% I follow through on that. Not because I'm a fucking nice guy. I'm not always a nice guy, and I don't pretend to be. But if I made a commitment to do something, I make sure I do it. Because I think when you start breaking your word to others, you're real close. You're going to start breaking your word to yourself. And that's the downward spiral of any results that you could have. That you have to trust your own word when you say, I'm going to do this. Like, that has to mean something in your head, or that's how I think of it.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. If someone says they're going to do something and doesn't do it, it's like, just don't say you're going to do it. Like I said, if someone asks me if I can do something, I'm going to think about it before I agree. Because once I agree to do something, I'm doing it. Sometimes maybe later you decide you don't want to do it, but I'm still going to follow through and do it because I agreed to do it. So when people say they're going to do something, it's like, just your word's all you have. So I think people should maybe think maybe it's a new generation or something. When these kids will tell you they're going to do something and don't follow through, it bugs me. You shouldn't have to check up and make sure someone's going to do it. Once they tell you you're going to do something, it should be a done thing. And that's all my close friends. They tell you to do something, and they're going to do it. Otherwise, it's like, all right, you can't trust this person.
Yeah, I think they don't understand what it costs them. They think, in the short term, they're like, I don't feel like it right now, and I'm going to go do blah, blah, blah. And I think they don't understand the real cost of that to themselves, not to others. But when other people can't trust you, you can't have any high-quality friends. You can't have any high-quality friends if people can't trust you. And you can't have any high-quality outcomes if you don't trust yourself to follow through on the things that you said you were going to do. Especially when it becomes inconvenient, especially when you made a commitment to something, and then it becomes inconvenient because circumstances changed in some way. is the most important time to go follow through with this.
I think it's a great point you make, though. They're harming themselves more than they're harming me. Because let's say if someone tells me to do something, they don't do it, it might be a little bit of a nuisance to me, but in the long run, it's probably more of a nuisance to them because I don't trust that person after that. So when they ask me for something, I'm not going to do it because they didn't follow through on their word. And they probably have a bunch of friends around them that aren't doing things for them because they don't follow their word. I know I have a bunch of friends around me that know that will do things if I ask them because they know I'll do it if they ask me if I say I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Key point, you aren't going to have access to other high quality people like that if you don't keep your word to yourself and keep your word to others.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize maybe, especially like you said, the people that are doing big things, they expect you if you say you're gonna do something to do it. So maybe the people running around in low level things, they're not like that. But if they want to reach that high level, if you say you're gonna do something, you better do it, or people aren't gonna pay attention to you.
No, another key thing related to this topic is I think there's a naive idea out there where to be a champion, to be a real winner at something, a high level athlete or high level performer or whatever, that like all the stars align type of thing, everything's going to be 100% perfect. And I would suggest, I never asked you this before, but I think I know the answer based on what I've talked about with I had a friend that was an Olympic wrestler, I had a couple other friends in MMA that you know, and universally they tell me that the day that you get that trophy, that belt, etc., it's not that you were in 100% perfect shape. Like by the time you're intellectually smart enough that you trained a lot and you have, exceptional intuition of what to do, your body's already starting to break down. You already have an accumulation of injuries and problems in life. And I think there's a naive perception out there, a misperception that, everything's going to be perfect. No, you'd be lucky if things were 85% good on the day that you get a trophy, get a belt, or maintain that. Is that a fair statement?
Oh yeah, definitely. You have to there's times, obviously fighting hurt, fighting on short notice, but you have to just go and make the best of it. You can't always, if you're fighting trying to wait for perfect, you get these guys pulling out of fights all the time. It's just you're going to be hurt sometimes. You're going to go out there with a messed up shoulder or your knee's going to be a little hurt. But there's only one fight. I pulled out of one fight because my back went out and it was just too bad. But other than that, I went in there banged up in a bunch of fights and still won the majority of them. Maybe lost a couple that, I was a little banged up, but that's the game. I'm sure I fought guys that were banged up too. This is a sport. It's a sport where you're never going to be perfect, and then mentally sometimes too, something might be off. Life's tough sometimes. You can't always go in there perfect mentally. You just have to tough it out and get your mind as best you can and go out and perform.
What do you think are the 3 key bullet points that you would share? Somebody that's serious about changing their life, having even better outcomes. My audience aren't a bunch of losers. There are people that are already doing well above average, above average education, above average work ethic already, and they want to do even better. And what would your advice be to people like that they're already doing well? They got a strong work ethic, they want to do more. What's the best way for them to utilize the resources they have or some mindsets, etc.? Open question, whatever you might share. What are a couple tidbits for a person like that to do even better?
Well, obviously fighting is the thing I relate to, but the biggest thing is just consistency. Just being there day in, day out, even on the bad days. I think some people will be like, I don't feel like it today and skip it, but you go through those bad days, you learn to get through the tough days, and the easy days, the good days become easier. So I think number one is just consistency. You have to go over and over. And number two is look out the correct mentors, whatever it is. Try to find people that have been extremely successful and are talented and can help you. A lot of these people that are talented, they actually like sharing. I don't know if people realize that, but it's not. I love sharing jiu-jitsu with the guys and fight MMA to the fighters, the guys that ask me at the gym. I'm helping those guys all the time because it's like we enjoy, especially retired, I enjoy sharing my knowledge to the next generation. I think business is a lot like that as well. A lot of these, obviously you can't be like an idiot about it and respect their time, but a lot of these big businessmen, they enjoy mentoring and trying to help people and push them in the right direction. So I think just finding mentors that can help you, and then finding people, maybe people along the same level you're at to try to rise up with. So having people that you're maybe competitive with, but like a friendly competition where you're trying to elevate each other. For me, I was very fortunate coming up with a team with
What would you say to somebody out there that thinks, I'm going to do it by myself?
It takes a team to get to greatness.
Derek Moneyberg presents The 10 Commandments of Wealth.
Someone has to instill the belief in you with the idea of it's been done before, it can be done, you can do it.
Sure, in business, you also want to seek out good mentors, people that have been there and can help you and lead you. And it's definitely very rare.
It's going to be fantastic. 20 interviews from the clients, 10 training modules, the 10 commandments of wealth, the 10 things that you must know to create some wealth. Champion interviews, champion after champion after champion.
Yes, you can go do it on your own, but you're for sure going to waste years of your life making the same mistakes that I have made, that you have made, that other people have made, that you don't have to.
I've never seen anybody personally that didn't have a great mentor, great coach.
I've never been hated on by anybody doing much better than me.
That's the thing. Every person that always hated on me was a person that was not as successful as me. And the ones who are more successful than me are the ones reaching out saying, hey, let me help you out.
Yeah. So you've got to find a mentor like yourself. Your job is to help shortcut them a little bit. But when it comes fight night and those bright lights come on and it's time to perform and it's time to make good on the promise that you made to the people around you, your coaches, your training partners, your wife, your son, I know that I made every single sacrifice.
Who do you think makes more money? The specialists, every time. In fact, if you're the best heart surgeon, people probably come from all around to see you.
I would say even a stronger word is they felt confident. They knew that anytime they ever spent money with me, anytime they spent time with me, they got a lot more value back than they did.
Exactly. You know, the skills I learned working with Derek from then until now, my net worth is well over doubled.
What would you say to the person that's listening right now? They're like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, it's inspirational and shit, but I'll just figure it out by myself. What would you say to that person?
Have fun being poor.
If you were smart enough to do it by yourself, you would have done it already. The first step to being more successful than you currently are is admitting to yourself, if you were smart enough to figure it out by yourself, you would have done that shit already.
My entire net worth is up 25%.
I've already seen a 300% rate of return.
5x my net worth.
I'm up 200K.
A 10x return on my investment.
I know for a fact that without working with Derek, none of this would have ever happened.
I make more money than I've ever made in my entire life. I owe that to Derek's advice.
The idea of not taking this and not investing in yourself is insane.